Welcome everyone to the Confessional Alter volunteer kickoff. My name's Jacob. I'm the lead artist this year. This is a early mock-up of the project that we're building. It's very detail-oriented, has confessional booths inside with a bit of a twist, and so it'll be a very kind of a personal experience and also have plenty of crazy wild details and learning opportunities along the way. But we'll get to that a bit later. For now, I'll have Sri introduce the space.
Hi everyone, my name is Srikant Kirikanda. I also go by Sri. At first I'll go over the agenda. I'm going to do the shop and then looking up arts introduction. I'll go and then Jacob will take over the concept, and then we'll hear from all the stream leads covering different areas of the project. We'll have a time and space for Q&A, and then we get to mingle. You get to chat with us more, and Jacob and Josh has like some action for you to participate in. All right. Welcome to Upside. We've been open to makers, artists, friends, whoever wants to like be here and do things since 2021. It's all community run, which is both like has its plus sides but also downsides. It's a small space, and we get really creative to make what we want with what we have, which requires a lot of communication and like juggling and working with other artists or makers in mind. So really community run, and it requires a lot of communication. That also captures the flex space and shared resources part. We have a good resource of community tools, but they're shared among everyone. So like people are like have to be mindful of consumables and tools, especially when they break. Our main goal here is to be collaborative and be there for each other as a community. But we also love events like this one, but also more art-centered. We, when possible, run artist spotlights for emerging Bay Area artists who wouldn't otherwise have a place, a gallery to showcase their art. They could just like book a weekend, pay a really minimal fee, and then showcase their art to the community.
And maybe just to build off of that real quick and kind of echo what you're saying, I think this really is a great space for community. I joined 2 years ago to help out on a few art projects and have been so encouraged and supported and learned so much from this group that I've been able to put this project together. And I'm incredibly excited about it. I'm incredibly excited to get more people involved in it and to experience that same community and learning and growing and making stuff together.
Yeah. We have lots of cool tools, whether it's a full CNC with vacuum and tool changer, or this laser that I'm currently using as a table for my laptop. Community tools, metalworking, we have welders, bandsaw, woodworking, all the saws you could imagine, but except a few exceptions. 3D printing, we have both filament printers and resin printers. LEDs, I spend a lot of time on that. We have a lot of like really high quality tools and consumables that will enable you to work on LEDs. And then I also represent Looking Up Arts, and I want to talk a little bit about it. The way I'm doing it here is kind of like breaking down our mission statement into different slides to capture all the different aspects of our organization. First and foremost, it's a community-centric organization, meaning like it started when we gathered together to make a 40-foot tall flamingo, and then we knew it then and there that it's going to stay that way, and we're going to continue to have community involved in our ideation process, in our fabrication process, and execution process. We tend to do uplifting and interactive installations. Sometimes it's like an installation that's a 30-foot manifestation of a dropped ice cream cone. Other times it's a rainbow that you can climb across and have aerialists perform under it. In general, the theme tends to be like ideas that bring people together. We are a collaborative home for artists and makers, which means like a lot of times people start with little to no skills, but like we train them, we work closely with them to be not just learn skills for their own practice or life, but also to be actively be part of our projects. That's a photo from one of our early welding workshops, especially for 4 of us there. It's the first time welding, and from that point, Jewel, who's sitting there, grew into playing very important structural steel roles. She welds awesome. And then the other thing is really we focus on empowering people that join us or work with us to see how they can grow into roles in art that they wish for. And this photo is a great example of that. It's Jewel and me looking at Sirsasana, a 30-foot upside-down tree that was burned in 2022. And it's important because for me, it's the first time I was leading an art project, and that's one of the first times Jewel later shared that her contribution made her feel as an artist. So I love that photo for many reasons, and those two are some of those reasons. And then I'll give it back to Jacob.
All right. So getting more into the concept of this particular piece. Oh, where to begin? Let's just go to the next slide. Okay. The origins of it. Kind of the thought process here. The full name is Confessional Alter, Demoop Du Soul. And I'll get into a little bit about the meaning of that in a minute. But it's Art Nouveau, meaning very organic, flowing shapes. Alter shapes, in a way, and it'll also be an altar. Circus wagon, which is that's more reminiscent of the found family and the, connecting to other people, regardless of backgrounds.
But clowns are one.
Yeah.
Skeptical.
And the goal of it is to build a refuge to release burdens and find new connections. Through play, through vulnerability, or through a bunch of different ways. As far as the building process of it, there are so many little details to this piece. We're going to start with building the core structure. We're going to make sure that works. We're going to be able to test it. We're going to have it all done. But when it comes to our goals and really make it beautiful, we have so many options. We're planning to do a dichroic roof, which is going to have a light film, so you'll get different colors of light filtering into these through the curved roof into these small intimate spaces and also into a shared portico. We want to do stained glass or acrylic, depending on how many stained glass people we have. We can maybe do that. On the doors and the arches over the doors. We're talking about doing upholstered seats. We're talking about doing so much different painting and stencils and so much opportunity for woodwork to make some nice curved doors and some of the panels between the doors. And actually, before I get too far, let me talk about the structure of it. The core concept of this piece is to build 3 confessional booths and a portico. And so the idea is these confessional booths will go across the width of this trailer. This trailer is our base. She's beautiful. We brought her in yesterday. She takes up so much of the space, but so many room for activities.
And you can start confessing it anymore.
Yeah, we might do a little bit of that at the end. This image is a bit of a misnomer in that these doors should be shifted one back, but essentially, when you see this piece from far away, from one side of it, you'll see this big forgive sign. From the other side, you'll see a big confess sign. And if you walk in, up the stairs, open up the double doors, and step inside, depending on the experience you create, you can choose to open up a panel, see another stranger who you meet out in Burning Man, and have this vulnerable confession moment with them, potentially get a silly absolution or whatever else you choose to build from that interaction. Or you can pick up a headset and you have anonymity because you'll be talking through that. You'll never know who's on the other side of that panel, and we'll put a little filter on it. And when you'll speak in one side, it'll be translated to something else, like a rap, a haiku, Sigmund Freud's interpretation of what you meant by what you just said. And that'll go to the other side. And it's, kind of this question of what is lost in our digital conversations these days over our personal interactions, but also a space to play. It's a space for adults to do silliness and have those kinds of interactions that we don't always get. And then at the end of the piece, which will be this space here, will just be an open air portico to sit, to reflect, to kneel and look out at the temple, which will be on the space, and to have a little peaceful moment or more discussions with the people that you meet. Details, as far as 3D printing, we could do these little ornamentations of the arches. There'll be some space for that we could do. And again, this is kind of what I talked about. We're specifically kind of having this choice on the confessor side, and only having the panel open that way because we kind of think the confessor side is a bit more of a vulnerable position. So it's going to be up to them whether they want to stay anonymous or not. Style, motifs, and colors. I talked a little bit about that. Organic Art Nouveau styling overriding Gothic undertones. Confessional booths traditionally are in churches. Cold, rigid structures with a lot of authority built into them. This is pulling it out of any religious space and opening it up to anybody on equal footing, kind of regardless of. And you can go in there and you can interact with somebody who you don't know who you're interacting with, and having that unique experience. As far as the colors, the idea is to have the coloring be inspired by the changing colors within nature. So rippling water, fall leaves, and the setting sun, these kind of effervescent colors that change as we look at them, kind of representing the change that we go through in these kind of interactions. And I talked about most of these. Altar, in the title of Confessional Alter, is a pun. It's not, normally the altar at a church would be A-L-T-A-R. Altar here is a pun because we're doing a non-traditional confessional form, and if you use the AI proxy, it's altering what you say. So that's the goofy thing. And the Demoop Du Soul tagline, for anybody who hasn't been to Burning Man, Moop is the term for material out of place. It's for any sort of trash or anything that gets onto the ground into this pristine nature that we want to clean up, and make sure we want to get rid of the refuse and avoid it disrupting and poisoning the nature of the space. So it's kind of just a silly way of relating the hope of unburdening through these shared stories. So Demoop, so pulling out the refuge, du kind of being like a pseudo French from the soul. Yeah. Great question. Yeah, there's a lot to this piece. This is the initial model that was sent for our application for honoraria. We got an initial art grant to build this from the Burning Man group. Still fundraising more. They funded, I think, 40% of the project. But you can see and maybe have a bit more of a visualization there of how it'll be laid out. We'll have video I can talk through here.
V2 wood frame mount for Confessional Alter.
I'll kind of talk over it since I'm here. So you can see the 3 arches for the entryways for one side. You can sit on these booths. There'll be sliding doors you can open to see who's across from you. And then here's the front portico space where you can kind of reflect and interact with other people and just have a moment of decompression. Especially if you've shared something particularly vulnerable, we want to have that space for you to be able to relax after that kind of process. As far as there's like a lot of things doing double duty. The benches, we're going to put our electronics in and also filter our air conditioning up through. And yeah, this is just kind of the other side of the structure, seeing the internals of the walls. We've done more mocks and made more changes to the process. Kyle, who's here, has been doing loads of Rhino 3D modeling for us to finalize to get down to our core steel structure. We're going to be having some metal walls across the space and some metal arches across the top that we'll be welding and assembling. And so here's kind of a more up to spec view of what we're looking at. So we've got 2 doors there. We have one that has to be a little bit higher because of these wheel wells that we'll be building stairs over. And then we have the reflection space on this far end.
Thanks,
All
Matt.
right. And then with that,
Should I come down or should I do it from here?
if you want to do it from there, you can.
Uh,
All about non-confessional or traditional experiences.
I have had the pleasure of building a bunch of projects here, and so we are not a traditional type of metal shop or wood shop, so everything has like a,
Might have to be louder.
all right, louder?
Okay.
We are not a traditional metal shop or wood shop, so we have to do everything in kind of a unique way here. And since so many people are learning while we're doing it, we have to design everything to kind of build in the tolerance of like whatever is happening. Like we're gonna be having wood and metal and painting and who knows what else happening at the same time. So it has to be able to be built in the small space and with the limitations that we have. So I guess it's kind of exciting for me to not have to work on like any level of details. I'm mostly just as like, not even designing, just making sure the frame gets assembled well. And so, yeah, I'm not in charge of anything. It's wonderful.
Josh is an expert of many different talents and skills in knowledge areas, and a great resource for figuring out insanity. This is the neck and head of the aforementioned giant flamingo. Example of metalwork, woodworking. There's foam. We're not going to be doing any foam, so that'll be.
Is that a promise? Yeah.
Not a guarantee. And you know, there's a lot of knowledge in this shop, and like plenty of great, like friendly, caring people to ask about things, and so many different crazy projects that have come through here. I encourage you to look up like the looking up Art's website and just seeing some of those are really This is an example of some laser cutting of metal that's been done in the past. We'll probably be doing some laser
Wood.
cutting.
Those are wood.
Oh, those are wood?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones in Jackson are steel.
and our laser cutter cannot cut steel.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we'll be laser cutting wood, so that works out. Yeah, and then we'll paint them up. There's tools for painting. Great. Design elements. There's, if you want to get involved in like 3D modeling or design, there's so many details that we have ready for you at any level you want to get designed at. We're going to be doing LED rope lighting on the roof to do the forgive and profess signs. We're going to light up the rooms beautifully because, you know, we have the daytime sunlight, but we're going to also have nighttime experiences for that. If we do use stained glass can often be, you know, dark and hard to see from one side, so we might light it up around the ring of the perimeter. So that'd be a great way to get involved. We're going to be building an altar on one side of the confession wagon, so that'll be kind of like a self-contained detail work. We're doing AC, we're thinking about doing solar, and there's a million different wood details. And those can be 3D modeled, those can be helped with assembly. There's going to be like, there's a CNC machine back there to cut out those intricate details, so like, it's going to be fun. And you can put a bit of your own stamp into it, of your own creativity into it. Oh, and loads of painting as well to add that on top. So with that, I'll hand it over to Jewel for steel.
This was Steel Team 6 from last year. Go team. This is Olga Knott and her Carhartts over there.
You've never seen me like this.
I know, exactly. I did a double take when she walked in. So I am very grateful that this year's project is all right angles. Hell yeah.
Except for the curves on the top.
Except for the curves on the top, but we'll cut them on a 45. It'll be great. Yeah, so we're gonna start where we've got almost got shop drawings nailed down. I think we're gonna end up starting with steel cutting sometime this week, maybe next weekend, for the wall structures. And then Olga, I sent you a text, are you still available next weekend?
I didn't get the text for you.
Oh, great, yeah, okay. Olga had mentioned, yeah, doing like an intro to welding class, where we can go over how to like prep and clean and set up and get kind of oriented to the welder. We're gonna have a decent amount, so the unsexy part of welding that no one tells you about is that 90% of it, maybe more, is the prep. And then there's like very, very little time where you're using electricity. And so I think it's good to come in and learn the kind of like basics of how to set things up. Because metal is forgiving and unforgiving in different ways, but basically like once it's cut and set and ready, like that's where it is. It doesn't give or bend or move like wood does, or fabric, which is how I got into like taking 2D things and making them 3D. And so it's a lot of like detailed prep work to get to the part where you make a 3D structure. So Sunday next week? Sure, great. Look out for, if you want to sign up on the like volunteer sign up or the Discord, there are QR codes over here that will get you onto the Discord and the volunteer email listserv. We'll send out more details about that, but that would be a great way to come if you're interested in doing any of the steel fabrication. This was from our No Dancing sign. It's me welding an N. And then this is me, if you zoom in on my face in that picture, it's very funny. Very hot and tired.
These slides are available.
These slides are available, the QR code, so you could look at my post-welding face. So yeah, there's lots of work to be done. We'll have to like cut, prep for welding. We'll have to jig at least some of the pieces, probably the roof trusses. At a minimum, we might jig the walls, we'll see. And then there's tacking and welding, and then once it's all done, you gotta clean up your work, make it like you were never there, and grind down some welds so that everything fits together nicely.
Use the fun angle grinder, and there'll be sparks flying everywhere.
Yeah, we'll
Put some
teach you
good
how to use
music
it
on.
without. All of us still have all of our fingers, so we'll teach you how to use it without taking your fingers off. And then we have to weatherproof by painting the finished pieces, or at least clear coating them. So there's a decent amount of work to do, but I think we're hoping to get it all done in June so that the structure is done, and then all the detail work can happen in July and August on top of it.
I just put a couple of quick slides in here for examples of some of the fun sub-projects. So for this example, some of the wood detailing, like these beautiful wood arches over each of the doors, I'd like to do those slightly different per arch, reflecting some of the symbolism of the space, having an arch represent vulnerability, having an arch representing play, and so taking like these traditional molding structures and distorting them in ways that kind of reflect that symbolism. And then we'll have these pinnacles and these others, like all these different like potential spaces to add like detailing and our own little knives to them. So if you want to get involved with that, talk to me. Similarly, stained glass acrylic. This is a wild example. We're not going to be making the whole door out of glass. We will make a window out of glass. But you know, there's an opportunity for that. And like subtle small things like air conditioning. It's hot out there. We want to have a clear roof because it's open and natural and filtering in light and having weird lighting effects. But it's gonna get hot. So we're building in air conditioning. So how do you put a duct into a tiny little wall in the middle of this project? So there's design going out for that. And it's being prepped in, like that's another thing you can get involved in. Also soundproofing, you know, giving people privacy. There's like a lot of these little things that I think they're fun problems to get involved in. And so like if anything is like, you hear that and you're like, wow, that sounds tricky, that sounds up my alley, that sounds like a new challenge for me. Like, let me know and we'll have it ready for you. Solar power, that's a plan. We're going for it. That may be one of the things that falls through the cracks. But we have we have a team, the RATS team, helping us out. So ideally, we're going to use solar to make this a very sustainable project. Tech. Very few people have seen this slide before, but this is an example of the AI shenanigans that might happen if you put the headset on. So let's say you put the headset on and you say, I'm overloaded right now and I just need to talk to someone about it. And the AI decides, hey, we're going to convert that into a rap. The rap that it might make up, and this is a rap that I made up, would be, I need some help before I snap, so I'll express myself with this rap. It may be bad, it may be awful, but I get it off my chest to make my heart full. And that's maybe one of the reasons why you want to open up that panel and be vulnerable, is because you come up with sassy stuff like that. Or maybe that makes you feel better and that feels like a weird way of play to be rapping back and forth. That's your decision. I love it both ways. Skip the slide. Project management, Orianne. All of these different silos and bringing them all together.
Yeah, so hi everybody. Some I know, some I don't, but I'm Orianne, and I will be PMing this. So essentially taking all of this chaotic, different work streams and helping us figure out what works best at what time and getting everybody to communicate. I think that's the biggest thing, is sharing information and making sure we unblock people so that we can make progress. So, my responsibilities will be running check-ins with all the different project leads here. to make sure everybody knows what's happening, and then that way we can communicate with all our volunteers, so when you come in, we can get you helping on the project, and nobody is disorganized or anything like that. Managing timelines. There is a lot to do and a lot of competing resources. We need steel done, we need to build the inside, the wood structures, we need to figure out AC and LED lights. So how do we figure out the timing of all of that? And like I said, communication, and you will probably hear from me asking for volunteers to come in. I'll send reminders. If we have different skill sets we need to fill, I'll probably be reaching out to you, being like, hey, I heard you know how to do woodworking, can you help us? And trying to organize that so we have the right people for the right jobs. You've already heard a little bit about the timeline. Right now, we're still going through a lot of the design phase. And we should have our structure done in June. That is the goal. After that, it's gonna be a lot more of the detail work in July and August, such as like the electronics and all of the Art Nouveau detail work that we wanna have in. That should be in July. And then the goal is to do a pre-assembly in August to make sure it all fits together here. So that way we're not surprised when we get to Playa, where we know it all fits, it all works, and we can make adjustments here when we have all of our resources.
And that's another challenge we've put for ourselves that I haven't mentioned, is we're designing this whole thing to flat pack. So we're building wall segments such that we can lay them all flat, we can drive them nicely down the highway, and then prop them up. That's how we
Heard that before.
Are you going to take over the...
Yeah. Leslie couldn't make it today, but she's been amazing, doing all sorts of fundraising work for us in the past. She sent us a video. Oh, I muted it.
And if you've been a past volunteer, you've probably seen my name before. I help run our Kickstarter and manage fundraising every year. Just for some context, I joined Looking Up Arts in 2019 as a volunteer to build Calm Down. I'd never worked on an art project before. I'd never considered myself an artist or a builder or anything. And this team was really welcoming and really showed me anything I wanted to learn, and really helped me get set up and come back every year since. So if you're a first-time volunteer, welcome, and we're really excited working with you. And just so everyone knows how our fundraiser works, we do Kickstarter, we'll be launching it soon, and something to just keep in mind is the biggest supporters we get every year are usually the friends of the family and people who get really dedicated to building the project. So when you hear from me, which I promise you will, sooner rather than later, consider donating or texting your mom or your aunt or your friend and telling them what we're working on, because we can't build a project without the art, and it really, every dollar counts. We, in addition to building the art with the money, we provide snacks or food or meals for our volunteers sometimes. We also have to pay rent for this workshop, so there's kind of a lot of things that go into it. We pay insurance, so we really, really need everyone's help to get across the finish line. So please, when you see my name in an email, in a text, in whatever it is, share it on social media, but also text it to people. It really makes a difference to help us get across the finish line. So I'm really looking forward to meeting everyone. Sorry I couldn't be there today, but good luck. Hope today is a great day, and looking forward to meeting more volunteers. All right, thanks everyone.
That's Leslie. As far as fundraising, in past years we've fundraised $31K for projects using Kickstarter. That was for Interlace. With individual contributions, company matches, and also done some other fundraising on the side. We like to do a lot of really cool little perks, and I think especially if you get involved in this project. This is all non-final stuff. We've done some early mocks just to like, kind of prepare ourselves. But yeah, we're working on something really cool. We're going to be really proud of it. So I think it's a cool opportunity to get, some little swag to remember the project and, start conversations about like, hey, I worked on this. You see this little like wood rib here, this like little detailing, I did that. And like, I think it's a really fun way to, have those fun little memories. Yeah, and there's some class breakdown stuff. I don't know. If people want to look at that, they can later. Volunteering. Yeah, so no matter what your current skill level is,
You're welcome.
you're welcome. And we can get you involved. And I have my own personal calendar up of when I guarantee you I will be in the shop to help you out, discuss things, to give clarity on what the current project is.
It'll be flexible hours. It will really depend on who will step forward. So we'll be flexible to our group that's interested in helping us. We'll have plenty of opportunities, whether it's weekdays during daytime, for the ones that are unemployed, for evenings after work and weekends. We communicate through Discord and also via email, and we tend to do calendar invites. So you'll be notified in all those things. Our immediate needs for volunteering is in administrative and